Derrick,
Yes.
what is God Eater 3?
Okay, so God
Let's go to
Eater
my question,
3.
Derrick. What is God Eater 3?
It's exactly that. What is it? No. So God Eater is essentially anime Monster Hunter. Like the
Okay.
simplest breakdown of it is that um the best way would be it's just more of a simplified version of playing Monster Hunter in an anime style. You're still pretty much hunting big beast, but instead of just being a hunter, you're a specially engineered human that can kind of control weapons, and you have like some of the monster blood already in you.
Okay.
So that's kind of the premises there, that you're the only one able to go out and fight these monsters, where it's not like you're just an everyday hunter, anybody can go out and fight these things. Like
Okay.
you're specifically designed to go out and handle these situations. Usually they're raised as kids, and they're a lot younger characters, so a lot of your characters are in like the teens to early 20s.
Right, so anime.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. This was actually the first one that wasn't designed for handheld first. The other ones that it came out were always designed towards like the PSP and the Vita first. They were designed for that and then ported to consoles. To where this was the first time that one was designed just straight for the console, because the Vita and PSP are no longer a mainstream thing. They also, this was the first one that they changed their developer. So before, a company called Shift was the one that developed and took care of everything, to where now Marvelous Studios took over. And then if you're familiar with anime, I'm pretty sure I'm saying this company's name wrong, but it's UFO Table. I'm pretty sure there's a correct way to announce it. But they did the intro for it.
Okay.
So a big studio for I'd say hosting developing anime was the one that actually designed the intro to this game. Yeah, so like I said, it's you're fighting these huge monsters known as origami. They kind of introduced a bigger one called Ash Origami, which are a lot stronger. I think the previous games were 3 players, so you'd go out with your character and then 2 others. Where this one's designed around 4.
Okay.
And then later it introduces like a bigger scale battle for multiplayer, where it's 8 characters go in and you're trying to fight one of these big origami creatures.
So when it's 4 players, is that just single player and you have like a party?
No, this one there's actually multiplayer too, so you can play the game entirely single player, and bring 4 AI controlled characters with you that you'll meet along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go in with 3 of your other friends and take on everything as well.
Okay.
Is it just sword and sorcery, or like Monster Hunter, is there ballistic stuff as well?
There's some. So the difference between this is every person, their god arcs is what your weapon's called. It has 3 different modes. So you have your blade or sword or axe, or like one character has like kind of like a dual dagger system. They have that mode, so essentially your blade mode. And then you also have a gun mode, which consists of, you can have a shotgun, an assault rifle, a minigun, a laser rifle. There's a couple different variations that you can create. And then you also have a shield that you can design as well. And this all works together. So while you're out there, you can be hitting it with that. All of a sudden, it goes up in the air and you need to drop it down. You could switch to your gun real quick, hit that. It'll drop down, then switch back to your blade type weapon and try to hit that. Or once you start learning enemy patterns, if you see one go to swing, you can do another button combination and it turns into a giant shield that protects you.
Okay.
So it kind of mixes up the formula a little bit to where you're more versatile than you are in Monster Hunter, where you kind of go out with this loadout and you need to do it. Where here you have all the tools for every situation already. And then with the gun modes too, there's different types of bullets you can have. So you can have like a fire bullet, a frost bullet, a lightning bullet, an acid bullet. But then as you're gaining materials and crafting components, you can create your own custom bullet, which takes oracle points to fire. So you can create this like crazy ass bullet that shoots out of a shotgun, but then it turns into 4 laser beams and some other crazy stuff and explodes all over. But you may only be able to shoot 1 or 2 because it takes so much of this oracle power that you gain from fighting these creatures.
Okay.
Take them out. So the crafting in the game is a little bit more in depth and less straightforward than it is in Monster Hunter. Because you can craft all your weapons, every component. So like your blade part you can craft, your shield you can craft, the gun you can craft, and then you can create your own special crazy ammo that somebody else might not have. Outside of just using the standard ones that they give it, wherever it's just straight fire or straight ice or straight lightning.
Okay.
To where then you can start mixing them up and then go from there.
Like, how elaborate does that get? Like, how many different attributes can you assign to the ammo? Like, are we talking about like a handful, or are we talking about like 20?
I'd say it doesn't go super crazy. I would say it's somewhere around 4, I believe.
Okay.
I think like the further you go on, the more you can unlock for what you can put in there. But usually it's around like 3 or 4 because you kind of slot everything, and then that gives you an overall power percentage of how much power it takes to use.
Okay. All right. So
you said they're quite neat. Oh, sorry, go on.
No. Go ahead.
You said they've always been quite niche, like handheld only, kind of. They're quite a small audience.
Yeah, they were.
Is the new one more accessible, being a bigger one? But is it kind of more entry? Like Monster Hunter World is quite entry level friendly to play. Is God Eater 3?
Yeah,
like that?
it's still as friendly as it was on the handheld and previous entries. Like they kind of like that formula, the map formula, and your interaction formula is essentially the same. It's just now solely being developed on a console. It's a lot more friendly. Like combos actually hit. You can actually pull off and do what you want to do, to where just a port of it or trying to play it on this handheld device, it might lag or stutter some and might not quite do what you want it to do. So it, I'd say the best way is it applies a polish to it. Rather from the previous entries, because like the last one that came out was God Eater 2 Rage Burst, was the remake of it, including everything for the PlayStation 4. But
it was on PS4.
It was hot garbage. Now
so that's the one to start with.
Yeah, now you come into God Eater 3 and everything's polished and worked and having a better reception. I think in Japan it got a 32 out of 40 from one of the big companies that reviews this game out there.
Probably Famitsu, I would have said.
That sounds like a Famitsu.
Yep, that's exactly what it was here. The writing was kind of small, so I couldn't quite see what it had said.
I think that's their IGN.
I believe so.
It's Famitsu.
Is that the new scale IGN is going for? They rate everything out of 40?
Maybe. So we got
7 out of 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Metacritic gave it a 71 out of 100. So its reception is higher than previous one, but it's also like got that kind of little cult following. Like if you know God Eater, you know what you're getting into. You know it's a Monster Hunter-esque game because it came out a couple years after, I believe, the first 1 or 2 Monster Hunters came out.
Yeah,
So
that was the main narrative around it. I heard was that it was getting a positive reception, and that it was kind of like Monster Hunter. So those were the big touchstones that I picked up on. It's kind of interesting that both those series took their first step away from like a handheld system and moved over to a big to the home console within a short amount of time of each other, because Monster Hunter, I guess, probably came out like almost a year before, right? Like it had to be pretty close.
A year or two before the first Monster Hunter came out, and then
No.
God Eater's
I mean, Monster Hunter
Oh,
World came
for
out a
World
year
and
before
yeah,
God Eater 3.
yeah, I'd say about like a year and a half ish.
Yeah, because it was into January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's interesting that the two series kind of decided
Mhm.
to make that jump around the same time.
Yeah, I guess because
So
like
so
handhelds.
overall, you're enjoying your time.
Yeah, it's been a lot more enjoyable to play and go through. Like it has its stuff that's really tedious. Like sometimes after every mission you have to go through and search for like a character to talk to in this like mobile home base you're in. And
Mm-hmm.
it's got three different levels. You have the bridge where you select your missions, and then you have like the living quarters, and then you just have like some cargo areas. So sometimes you have to go through and visit every single room to see who's got a little bubble atop their head and then talk to them. It
Oh,
happens
okay.
a little more than it should.
There's no
It,
there's no map to look to see if somebody's got an icon for you or something like that.
yeah, no, you just kind of like what will happen is you're like you come back from mission, you're like, all right, I need to get another mission. So you talk to the girl Amy, who assigns the missions for you because you're basically contracted to do these.
Yep.
And she'll be like, "Oh, sorry, the system's down right now." And then all of a sudden, great, now I've got to go search this entire place for somebody to talk to.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you can kind of guess who it's going to be, depending if it was like a story event or something that just happened. Then you kind of know where the main characters are.
Yeah.
Then sometimes it's not, and it seems to kind of like, at least in the beginning where I'm still at, it it seems to happen a lot to where it's
Okay.
like, are you kidding me? So that'd be
Yeah.
like the one big drawback to it is, even though it's not though too, because everything's like nicely dialogued. The voice acting's great. Some of the stuff can be like, okay, why did we have this conversation? And the other ones are like, oh, cool, you're really feeling what this character's feeling, because that's usually what they are, more personal conversations about what's going on.
Yeah, it just sounds like it's kind of a bummer that they weren't a little bit more straightforward with telling you where you need to go in order to get your next assignment or whatever.
Yeah, like you get your assignment from the same place. It kind of stops you from getting the next one because it wants you to go talk to somebody
Oh, okay,
and
I
just
get it.
have interactions outside of just
Okay.
straight going mission.
But like it should have just brought you right to there when you went to your hub area, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, or kind of like it could have been played out in a better way
Yeah.
to make it feel more natural. Like it's not
Mm-hmm.
very natural feeling.
Right. Like, oh shit, all of a sudden the system's down. You better go talk
Yep.
to Bob.
Yeah, and it'll like slightly change. Like, oh, the system's down. Oh, this time we have interference.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we're getting ready for this next big battle for tomorrow, so go do something and then come
Yeah,
back.
go hang out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
that I could see how that could get frustrating.
Mm.
So just real quick, a few comparisons to Monster Hunter. Are you going into like the same general play areas over and over again, or are they all discrete? Um,
not every single one's discrete. You'll find it at times to where you might go into the same sort of looking area with a slight tweak.
okay.
Um,
Are
over
they
and
as
over again.
are they as open as Monster Hunter?
Um, as far as comparing it to World, it's not as open. It's more of a linear, like there'll be like an open space, and then there's some more like narrow ways you can go around, just depending how it's designed. It's
Okay.
not it's not extremely open, but it's not like you're just stuck on a straight linear path. It kind of gives you a little options.
Okay. And is
More
there
like the
any?
older Monster Hunters.
What was
More
that?
like the previous. More like the older Monster Hunters, which is fairly
Yeah,
kind of
it's
corridor.
like they've kind of kept, like I said, they kind of kept the same map features and way the game plays and it's handled. It
Mm.
just now it's more, it just works together better. It feels better. It handles and responds a lot better.
Yeah.
I guess the question I'm really getting at there is when you're going out and fighting these monsters in these areas, is there anything else to do there other than fight those monsters?
Generally, you're just pretty much fighting the monsters. Some areas
Okay.
you'll have items to pick up, and you'll start learning those spots where there are. So
Okay.
sometimes you want to grab them, sometimes you don't, because
Okay.
it's pretty simplified to where straightforward. You want to fight these monsters. As soon as you kill the monster, if it's not like your main one, you've got like maybe 30, 40 seconds before it disappears to where you can use your God Arc to essentially eat it. You'll turn your weapon into a giant head and you'll chomp down on it. And that's how you get your crafting materials from different monsters.
And that's how they get the name.
Yep. Yep. That sums up that right there.
All right. I didn't know if this was going to be one of those that the name makes sense or it doesn't.
No, the straight up makes sense.
Okay.
You're using these God Arcs, they have this eater ability. They added in some like more smaller systems too, to where they now have this Excel system. And before they had a burst system, and they've renamed it now an engage system, so you can kind of like link up with another, like if it's an AI partner or somebody there, you can link up, and then all of a sudden you get like a bonus. Essentially, some might be an attack bonus, or others are like if you use a healing item, you'll heal more. And they just kind of like stack on top of each other, but it's pretty nice and pretty intricate the way they do it, because like some will be attack, some will be healing, and then your different meters are filling up at different times. So
Okay, cool.
it's just kind of, it gives it a fresh new feel to it. And then one of the things that I came across too when I was playing to get the footage for this was I came across my first assault mission, which is new, which is in, like I said, an 8-player battle, but it's it's 8 human players, so it's a multiplayer feature only. But you go in there, you've got a target, and it's all of you going after this. So that was a lot of fun. It worked well. Everybody connected in. There wasn't any lag at all.
All right, cool. So that adds a little bit. Is that sort of like in-game stuff, or is that kind of thrown into the middle of it?
It kind of got thrown into the middle of it. Like I said, I'm still early on because you get a decent amount of missions to do. That's where like the recycling of areas come in. Is you get there's a good group of monsters and a bunch of different ones, and the way they do the story. So you kind of just deal with the same area showing up a couple times in a row, but you might be getting different monsters in it. So yeah, but you're fighting a different monster, or a medium or larger sized one might show up, or there might just be a bunch of smaller monsters. So they keep it mixed up fairly well to where it doesn't get as repetitive feeling.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's good to have. Another one of those kind of Monster Hunter-ish games out there because of how successful the Monster Hunter World was. I think there's room for a variety of them to keep all of them on their toes, and I'm glad to see that this one's getting a good reception.
Yeah, and you kind of get to hit your different audience, because then there's people because for God Eater 2 there was actually a short anime series that coincided with it.
Okay.
But it was fantastic. Like, it was really, really short, like 6 episodes, and it just made you want like a lot more of that, because you really connected with the characters, and then you're alongside these characters in the game. So I'm not sure if that's something they'll revisit in the future, especially with an anime studio having done their like complete intro to the game, or it wasn't handled by the development studio.
Do you think it has a chance to break out like Welded? Or do you think it's not generally built like that because it's so tied into an existing franchise and stuff, isn't it? And it's not quite as maybe friendly as World.
Like I said, it's a little bit more simplified than playing Monster Hunter. It's more straightforward with some of the things, but then like getting into the crafting, it's a little bit more intricate. Because like in World, you're just crafting towards certain weapons that you want to get. To where this one now, there's a lot of the same weapon, but then there's like different types of that weapon, and then you can go into that even more and add which I should have mentioned earlier, you can add skills to your weapon. And then I just opened up another slot. So once these skills leveled up so far, I can add another skill onto the end of that. So when I'm comboing, you can change up your combo system like that too, which is why this one felt better, because before you'd get these combos, but they wouldn't play well together. Where this, everything actually plays well, is connected. You can pull off your combos and be satisfied with what you just did.
Well, hopefully it breaks out.
Yeah, I'd like to see it too, because it's got a lot of good ideas behind it. You know, the lore of the origami and the new ash storms they're talking about, and your character, which is called an age, about how you're the only one able to go out, but you're designed to go out and fight these things, and you know that, like, since a child, you were born with the origami blood in you that could handle the oracle cells. And then you can essentially control this god eater that you're given and go out there and fight these things. And you know you're trying to save mankind. You're trying to help people.
Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
I think this one was pretty much straightforward. You know, it's just a fun hack and slash that if you like those kind of grindy collection crafting games, it's a real easy one to slide right into. Maybe a little bit more easier than Monster Hunter, because Monster Hunter kind of required you to have those other people with you. If you were trying to take on like the bigger ones, unless you like completely loaded yourself out to go do one certain thing. To where this, you kind of got that full single player approach to it if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Ooh.
All right. So yeah, if you're interested in God Eater, that's Derrick's take on it.